This show is part of the RetroZap.com podcast network. RetroZap.com proudly presents a podcast beyond your experience, beyond your imagination. The Dune Cast. With your hosts, Joe Tavano and Rod Johnson, featuring news, analysis, and discussion of everything in Frank Herbert's Dune universe and beyond. Welcome back, friends, to the Dune Cast. My name is Joe Tavano, and joining me, as always, my co-host, Rod Johnson. How you doing, man?
Joe, I'm doing great. Got a lot of news to talk about tonight.
Oh, yeah. This is 100% movie news discussion tonight. We're doing a movie cast, and we're gonna be doing these regularly in anticipation of the upcoming movie, which now has a date. We have so much casting to talk about. We have so much to get into tonight with this upcoming Dune film, directed by Denis Villeneuve. There's so much to discuss. So, hope you guys liked our 4-hour Heretics of Dune podcast that was put out recently, and hope you guys are digging into that. There's so much to discuss there, and get your emails in too. We want to hear from you. What you guys think about Heretics, what you think about any of the other books as well, and especially what you think of Chapterhouse, because we're going to be starting to talk about that very soon. So, dunecast@retrozap.com is the email address, and we want to hear from you as much as possible, early and often. All right, let's take this down a little bit. That theme song, of course, by a re-edit, a mix of The Sword. Great song by them called Apocryphon. So, I just think it fits so perfectly to start discussing prescience and everything that I think that Paul and Leto and maybe even Miles Tegg even experienced. So I don't know. Do you remember when I sent that to you, Rod? And I said, "Oh my God, this sounds like just like Dune."
I do remember, because you sent it to me, and I was like, I 100% approve of this song. And then I pulled up Spotify and added it to my playlist.
There you go. That's awesome. All right, so where do we begin here when we start talking about this film here that's coming out? Because there's a lot to discuss, and I think we've only kind of scratched the surface.
Well, I mean, we could start with the casting. We could start with the crew that he's assembling to work with him. We could talk. We have a release date.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Okay, so the release date. I think we can probably start there. November 20th, 2020. 11/20/2020. What a weird confluence of numbers, right? It just feels Dune. I don't know why. 11/20/2020.
It's hard for me to imagine that, we're about a little over a year and a half and he hasn't started filming yet. I get the impression that the roles are pretty much cast. They might not have announced, or might be people still in talks, but it sounds like the majority of the roles are cast. But it's just amazing to me that a movie like Dune in this day and age can be filmed, edited, cut, released that soon.
Yeah, well, they've been working on pre-production for a long time, and all we've really heard about is a script from Brian. But that there are concept artists, and there are all different sort of production people working on this film in the background, and they have been for a while now, since it was announced. I mean, which is well over a year now. So there's plenty to talk about there. If you look at the IMDb page, you'll see the whole cast and the crew. And the crew is huge, and there's plenty of people to discuss there who have been working diligently all along on this. So pre-production has been going on for quite a while, and there's a lot that is already in the works and rolling. So now all it really takes is just getting film shot, getting things on on digital, digitized, and then getting performances done, and then back to the editing room, get the CG going, and wrap it all together. They can make this happen 100%. It's early 2019.
I have no doubt that they can. It just surprises me sometimes when you start thinking about it. Like,
it's almost 2 years
away from it.
Yeah, I guess it's like a year and a half. Like maybe year and 3/4,
8 months.
Yeah, something like
that.
8
months.
Yeah. So there's a lot to talk about there. So we know our director.
9 months, I guess.
We know our release date, which they actually stole from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, I guess. But it's funny.
Yeah, I saw Brian tweeted out that article today.
Yeah, he said,
Dune, upending the Harry Potter franchise. Who would have thunk?
Yeah, I mean, respect your elders, I guess, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I guess that's where we're at. But I don't know. Maybe Harry Potter's more the elder because they've been, they have like 10 films already. So who knows? But
yeah, we've got Denis.
That's true.
And apparently that name is carrying a lot of clout in Hollywood because it seems you and I had before joked about, like casting. And then I remember saying, well, you always do that dream casting. Ooh, I wish we could get this person. And then with every announcement, I'm just thinking, wow, better
than a dream casting.
Yeah, just wow.
They're blowing it out of the water. It's just real. It's unbelievable casting. And, I think that people are really flocking to this because you look at what Denis Villeneuve has achieved previously. It's not a huge body of work, but every single one is a diamond. I mean, there are no lumps of coal in his repertoire. You think about it: Sicario, Arrival, Blade Runner, 2049. These are they're more than films. They're works of art, and they're truly spectacular. And then you have Denis saying this is like the film he's been wanting to make his entire life. This is the work of a lifetime for him. And
now I cannot verify the story, but I've heard the story that he turned down James Bond.
Yes.
And then was later offered Dune. And said, okay, yeah, I was going to take a break, but I'll do Dune.
Yeah.
Now, do you know that to be fact, or is that just something I heard?
I believe it's very factual that he was considering a James Bond film, and Dune came up and he jumped at it and kind of canceled everything. It's kind of like when, if you're kind of seeing, you're dating a couple of girls or guys and you're kind of just talking to a few, and then the right one just kind of, the stars align and you meet the one and everything just gets dropped. That's what happened with Denis, because this is like the dream project he's been waiting for forever. And that was it. He was all on board. So that's really cool. Yeah. Okay. So,
and he's assembling a lot, and I'm not a great movie cinematographer. I don't understand exactly what some of these roles do, but reading the articles, like the supervising art director, and I'm like, I'm not sure what that does, but he's worked on Vice and Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah, I mean the credits,
Squad.
The credits for everybody are really out of the water. So when you're looking at it, you see directed by Denis Villeneuve. Writing credits: Frank Herbert gets a writing credit for the novel, but then you have Eric Roth, John Spates, and then Denis Villeneuve as writers of the screenplay. And Eric Roth, for people who follow movies, you'll definitely recognize him because he's been around for a while. He's done a lot of stuff. A Star Is Born. Have you heard that little film?
Yeah.
Yep. Extremely loud and incredibly close. Curious Case of Benjamin Button, The Good Shepherd, Munich, Ali, The Horse Whisperer, The Postman, Forrest Gump. I mean, just some movies. Yeah. This guy's done it. So he's clearly a veteran screenplay writer. They brought in the best of the best. John Spates as well. a guy that really has an interesting background. A person who definitely knows sci-fi and a little bit more, I would say a little bit more edgy as well. Maybe brings some interesting things to the table. So what has he done? He has done the most recent Mummy, which probably is not the best thing to really talk about. Passengers.
Doctor Strange.
Well, Doctor Strange was really good. Prometheus, which I liked quite a bit.
I have not seen that one, to be honest with you.
Prometheus? Good movie, worth it.
Yeah, I get behind.
Worth it.
I get behind on movies.
Yeah, it happens. It happens. I would definitely take the time to check out Prometheus. Really weird, really cool movie. Yeah, worth it. So, I mean, he's definitely kind of an edgy guy, and I think with him and Eric Roth and Denis Villeneuve all taking passes at this screenplay, you're probably going to come up with something really good. I think that Dune screenplay needs more than one person looking at it, because if you have just one person doing this, I think you can kind of have more of a myopic vision, and you may. I think it needs to have multi-layered perspective to make sure you're covering all bases. And it's if you look at social media,
and we do know that.
Yeah, what are you going to say?
Well, we had talked about earlier, and we do know that Brian has been very actively involved in the screenplay. As far as I think the last I saw, he was talking about a fourth draft. So
at least
it's nice to know that somebody like Brian is actually taking a look at the script and making sure that these are the high points. These are the things we need to have in there.
Oh yeah.
We need to have a good battle with Jameis.
Yeah. So yeah, you want that definitely, but the Herbert estate is reviewing all screenplays, and they're making sure to approve and sign off on everything going on, and I think that's really important. I like that they're doing that, and they're being very candid about it as well. So there's a lot there that's you can just tell how much care they're putting into it, and they want to make sure that everything is just perfect with this screenplay, and it's all going to go off without a hitch.
I don't feel like in '84 I was young, but looking back on it now, I feel like they were trying to capitalize on Star Wars and what that had done, and which is funny with everything Star Wars has borrowed from Dune.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
I think it's such a different time now in a different situation. Whereas Lynch hadn't really read the book, we've got a guy now that is arguably one of the best directors in Hollywood. Well, he is one of the best directors, arguably the best, but also a huge fan of the book, of the story.
Yeah, probably one of the biggest fans in Hollywood too.
It's just one of those. All the stars seem to be aligning. So it's great that everybody is focused on making sure that this stays as true to the original vision as possible.
Oh yeah. I'm really excited about that, and I think they're more interested.
So no heart plugs.
Yeah, no Mentag Creed. No weirding modules. Yeah. No pugs. Hopefully, you know what I mean.
I'm a dog lover. I'd be okay with a pug.
Yeah, it was just Lynchy and odd.
Weird.
And I don't know if we necessarily need that, but hey,
I feel like somebody was like, no, David, chair dog, not dog in a chair.
I know, right? Chair. Oh my gosh. What if they get to chair dogs? That's going to be so weird. So weird.
I don't know how you're going to do that.
Yeah. How do you do chair dogs?
I don't know if they would. I don't know if you do that. Somebody will get upset. It'll be a CGI and somebody will still be upset.
I want to see sligs though. I want to see a slig.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to try a slig. They sound delicious.
I guess so. It's so disgusting, but also at the same time, probably really good.
Yeah. Well, catfish is good, and they're just bottom feeders.
Well, that's true.
Tasty.
That's true.
And you've seen what they feed pigs, and I'm never going to turn down bacon, Joe.
Yeah, it's a slug. It's a pig slug. Slig.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are we talking about here? I don't even know. But
this is a tangent of tangents right here.
Hey, if you know my other podcast, that's what I love. So, Okay, let's talk a little bit more about the cast. Okay, and
oh my,
Yeah. So we're talking Timothy Chalamet's Paul Atreides, and he has gone through a transformation in the past couple of months, I'd say. It looks like he's working out more. He looks a little bit more mature. I think he's really starting to live and breathe this role in preparation for filming. Have you noticed he kind of grew a little bit of facial hair too, and looking a little more rugged? You know, shedding the boyish look.
What was it? The Golden Globes, where he was wearing that one outfit where I was like, wait a second.
Oh yeah, he looked like he was wearing like an old Lynchian still suit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta say one thing too. Going back to Lynch one more time. We love the Lynch movie for what it is. It's a cult film. It's a really unique portrayal of the Dune universe. But we've said it in the past. We'll say it again. It's time we move on from this vision of the Dune universe. Not to say we can't love it. We can go back and look, but we can't be beholden to what has happened before. We need to look at the new. We need to approach it with new eyes and not compare. And I got to call out places like Gizmodo and
I was hoping you'd do
Mashable and these media outlets that daily are just putting out trash in conjunction with announcements to this movie. And they're calling it a remake. They're calling it a reboot. They're calling it a follow-up to David Lynch's 1984. And they're showing pictures of that movie. And they're showing pictures of, oh my God, I'm drawing a blank on the original.
McLaren?
Yeah, Kyle McLaren. They're showing pictures of him, and it's like, what are you doing? Like, this is ridiculous. Do better than this, because there's absolutely no connection to that movie at all with the upcoming production. And it's not a remake. It's not a reboot. It's a new adaptation of Frank Herbert's original novel. That's it. There's nothing being rebooted from this. It's a new adaptation.
I'm just hoping when production starts, that some stills will be released, and maybe they will finally start using those.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Yeah.
But it's like, can't you picture Denis on there? Put a photo shot of Timothy. There's no reason to keep using the old stuff from 1984.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many more people.
You tweeted this out the other day, and I was like, thank you.
Yeah, I woke up, and I saw an article, and I was just like, oh, do better. Yeah.
First thing in the morning, I didn't need this.
Yeah, I just didn't need it. Okay, so we have our Paul, and I think we're all pretty happy with Timothy Chalamet. If you've seen him in recent work, he is definitely an actor to be eyed for some really good stuff. He's definitely Oscar bait right now this season, and a worthy person to play Paul from all intents and purposes. Lady Jessica.
I like his look.
Yes.
Lady Rebecca Ferguson. Is that where we're going next?
Rebecca Ferguson. She's Swedish, actually. Interesting. And also another one from the indie circuit who's done a couple of big budget things. A mainstay in the Mission Impossible series. Was in the movie Life, which I thought was really cool. Have you seen that movie? Another great sci-fi movie.
I tell you, I'm behind.
Another great recent...
You're just making a list of me.
Yeah, Life is also another really great recent sci-fi film. Kind of one and done, but it's a good one. She was also, she's been in a lot of things lately. She's working pretty hard. The Greatest Showman. Like I said, Mission Impossible Fallout, Mission Impossible 7, which is going to be in 2021. Life. The Girl on the Train. Interesting. Florence Foster Jenkins. Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Yeah, she's been doing a lot of stuff. So pretty cool. And I think she has the right look.
I like her look, yes, too. I'm glad that they went with Jessica Younger, because I always, did they ever mention how old she was when she had Paul?
She's in her mid-30s. She's not super young.
Yeah, I was going to say she's not. No. But she's Bene Gesserit. And they have pretty much control their aging.
They can essentially control their aging. You're absolutely right. And the spice is, the first thing they call it is a geriatric drug. The spice is something that can extend life and prevent the look of aging. So, when you get into like Chapterhouse and you see like Belanda, who is like older and fatter, it's a choice. It's a choice she made, and we'll get into that in an upcoming episode. Which is just such a cool way of looking at physicality and aging. especially for Herbert, in his time in life. But we'll talk about that at some other time. But Rebecca Ferguson,
and it sounds like she's going to get to keep her hair.
Yeah,
which is good.
That's good. Yeah, I don't think they're going to go with the bald look, which was, albeit super cool, but the black Abba robes do not need to have a bald head.
And I think that I saw an interview with her, and it sounds like she's actually taking to the source material, researching it.
I like that too. I like the fact that everyone involved in the movie is reading Dune and understanding their characters intrinsically. They're not just waiting for a script, which is really important.
Yeah. Which fits with what Denis wants to do, and Brian and the whole crew is to make this movie true to the original.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay.
What
were you going to say?
Go ahead. Nope, go ahead.
Oscar Isaac is Duke Leto Atreides.
Yeah.
Now,
I saw that I got a notification.
Yep.
On my phone, and I was like, really? Because
I was shocked
when I heard that he was he's a fairly big name to get.
He's a big name because of Star Wars, but outside of Star Wars, Oscar Isaac is an indie film darling. This guy has been doing some great work in the indie circuit. Inside Llewellyn Davis, A Most Violent Year, Ex Machina. If you haven't seen Ex Machina, go out and see it. It's fantastic film. He's done a ton of stuff, and he's just cool. I really like him as an actor. Do not see him in Apocalypse. He did, he was just miscast. Not that he did a bad job. I think the movie let him down, but.
And I was talking to somebody about this, and they said, well, is he old enough to play Duke Leto? It's like, well, yeah, he's 39, I believe.
He's going to be 40 next month, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do believe it. So it's like one of those, I think he's old enough to play Duke Leto.
Yeah, so if Jessica's in her mid-30s and he's about 40, I think that's perfect. This is the thing. We can't be comparing casting to the Lynch film. It's a folly to do that. We can't say, okay, well, Leto looked like this in the Lynch film, so we need someone of the exact same age. Not a great thing to do. Not a good look. So
no, and I like I mentioned, I like Rebecca Ferguson. I think that she's a younger Jessica, which I like, and I like that. I always imagined Leto was around 40 years old.
Yeah, I think that's a really good age of maturity to see a very capable guy, and also. Spoiler alert, he dies. So when he dies, it's a little bit more tragic to see a guy who's, in his 40s die, compared to 80s. And again, they're using the spice. He could be, 100 years old in the movie. Who really knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we ever get into Leto's age in the book. I'm not sure.
No.
That's a detail I don't know. I'm not sure. So
not off the top of my head, I don't think so.
When Oscar was cast, people were saying, "Oh wow, I'm surprised he's not Duncan," or "I'm surprised he's not Stilgar," and I have to agree. I was a little shocked. I did not see. I saw him as a little bit more of a rugged look, and I was expecting him to fit more of a Duncan persona than a Leto persona. Just from the novel, just from everything he exudes, I was expecting that little more of a rugged look, and I thought he was going to be more of a Duncan.
Yeah, I thought maybe that it was one of those. This announcement got made so quickly, they're going to come back and edit it and say, actually, he's going to be playing Duncan.
Yeah,
because, I really did.
Yeah, me too. But no, he is Leto.
I'm
but I
far
can
from
see
upset that he's going to be Duke Leto.
I can see it. I really can. And when you see Oscar and Timothy together. I saw a picture from an award show, and I'm like, oh man, these two, they look like father and son. They look right, and I get it. I totally get it. So that's cool.
Yeah.
And then you hear who was cast as Stilgar, and you're like, oh, that's perfect actually. Javier Bardem is Stilgar. Also Javier would have made a really good Leto, to be perfectly honest. Believe it or not, I think he probably would have. But I think
that's
what's that?
I think when we start saying, well, he could have played this role, he could have played this role, I think that just speaks to the quality of actors that they are casting.
Yeah, these are all they're all A-list actors. They're all people who choose roles. They're not taking roles because they need a job. They definitely these are all people who curate their careers based on the best things they could possibly do. And I think Javier Bardem, came onto the scene in No Country for Old Men, which was a fantastic movie, and he stole every scene he was in. Absolutely stole every scene. Fantastic.
And that's what I want him to do with Stilgar, because I always feel like Stilgar was such a presence that every time he's around, he is the center.
He is.
Like even with when he and Duncan show up, he just kind of comes strolling in, and it's like, this is your Duke, and
he needs to have that presence. He needs to have that authority. And Javier Bardem just has a very piercing intensity to him, and I think he can really portray Stilgar. The other thing too is, I wonder if a lot of these actors are kind of going out for whatever role. Maybe Oscar Isaac went out for Stilgar, but they end up saying, you make a better Leto. And I don't know, maybe they were eyeing people for a number of roles, and they kind of fit things in like a puzzle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think we'll ever know.
Things like that happen. You never know.
The way they did it, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Speaking of other people who could have been Duke Leto or Duncan, Josh Brolin, another No Country for Old Men alum, is Gurney Halleck. Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
We're talking Thanos. Wow. We're talking Thanos. We're talking Brand from Goonies.
We're talking Cable.
And this guy's Gurney Halleck. I mean, Josh Brolin can do whatever he wants. He's a fantastic A-list actor. I feel like he completely dissolves into his role and becomes the character. He just becomes whatever he wants to do. I mean, he was in W playing George W. Bush, and I forgot that was Josh Brolin completely. Also, another previous team up with Denis Villeneuve from Sicario. He played Matt Graver. Great role there as well. So, yeah, good stuff.
And I think there was a little back and forth between another one of the Dune actors when he got announced.
There's a back between Dune actors? What are you referring to?
Yeah, Raban.
Oh,
we haven't mentioned him yet.
Yeah,
but if I remember correctly, they went back and forth like, "Hey, good to be filming with you again."
Right. Okay. So Glossu Beast Raban is being played by another Denis Villeneuve alum, Dave Bautista, the former WWE wrestler turned actor, who is best known for Garling.
He's come a long way.
Yeah, he worked with Josh Brolin in the Marvel films, because he's in Guardians of the Galaxy. And, Batista did an unbelievable turn in Blade Runner 2049, because you see him in the Marvel films, and you see him kind of almost like a one-trick pony when he's playing Drax the Destroyer. And I'm like, okay, this is the type of role an ex-wrestler could do, because he's funny, he's, over the top, he's very magnanimous. And then you hit him in Blade Runner 2049 as Sapper Morton, and it's the very beginning of the film.
Blown away by his role there.
It's nuanced. It's intense. It's nothing like you've ever seen Dave Bautista do, and he absolutely crushes it and just sets the entire tone for the entire film, and it's super exciting.
I was like, that is Dave, because he just looks so much different.
Yeah,
he's in his upper 40s. But when he's got all his makeup on and everything for Guardians, you kind of forget that. And he looked so much older, and he was just so good in that role. I was like, that is Dave Bautista. You're shocked.
Batista just turned 50.
Did he really?
Yes. January 18th, 1969. Believe that.
The thing I remember him first in was Smallville.
Really?
He was in an episode of Smallville, like season 6 or somewhere around there. It wasn't good. It wasn't
really
good.
Yeah,
I think that was around the time that CW had wrestling, so there was a lot of wrestlers that made guest spots in that show.
Huh.
And then his career kind of took off with the Guardians, like we mentioned. But when I saw him in Blade Runner 2049, I was with you. I was like, man, this guy is he's really come along.
Yeah,
and it's a great casting.
Oh yeah, because he has the bulk, he has the presence to really own Beast Raban's character. Because I feel like the Lynch film didn't do it justice. He kind of made him out to be like kind of a big brutish moron, you know?
Yeah.
Like he might eat off his own finger if he got hungry enough. You know what I mean? Yeah, like a real dolt. And you couldn't see this guy like oppressing a planet for years and squeezing a planet, because that's what Raban's major mission is during Dune, is to really terrorize and be a real tyrant on Dune and squeeze the planet for all the spice he possibly can. And that's what he is. He's a ruthless guy. So Batista's also going to be a turn for him. He's not going to be a hero in this one. He's going to be a villain. He makes Fade look good because they call him the Beast for a reason.
Rightfully so.
Yeah, rightfully so. And it's going to be a very physical role. I think. I don't think he's just going to sit there like a big dolt. I think he's probably going to be very physical and showing that strength and prowess as well, and probably actually throwing a lot of people around. So that's something pretty cool. I'm glad to see. Notable, we don't know who Fade Routha is yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet. That's yet to be revealed.
I think they know.
Of course. They know. If you cast this many key players, you know who Fade is by this point. But we do know who Duncan Idaho is. And let's be clear here. This is the most pivotal role in the entire Dune saga. This is the one character that will be featured in every single Dune production moving forward. So if you want to go Messiah, Children, God Emperor, Heretics, Chapterhouse, Hunters, Sandworm, everything in the main Dune saga, Duncan Idaho's there.
He's there.
He's there. And that means that Jason Momoa has perhaps the role of a lifetime here. The role of many lifetimes, I think I said online.
Yeah. It's a great line.
Thanks. Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, I think that Jason Momoa has real big shoes to fill. And I got to tell you, there's been a little bit of backlash with this casting, and I think it's a little bit of fanboying out. I think it's a little bit of fanboy rage on this one, because people see him as Aquaman, people see him as Conan, and they don't really see beyond that at all. So let's take a look at Jason Momoa here. Jason Momoa is just about turning 40. He is a Hawaiian. Born and raised kind of that surfer attitude. He is, the guy actually is, he can shapeshift his physique quite a bit. He's not this major hulking guy all the time. He can actually slim down quite a bit and be a little more lithe. And
watching Aquaman. He wasn't near as big an Aquaman as he was for like Conan or even Game of Thrones.
Yeah. And the first Khal Drogo too. That's where I first saw him, Khal Drogo in Game of Thrones.
I first saw him way back in the day in Stargate Atlantis.
Okay,
I don't know if you remember that show or you ever watched that show.
I never watched it, but I have heard of it.
But he did a lot of sparring. Like he actually did. He trained a lot of.
He's a martial arts guy
to fight. Yeah. So people are like, "Oh, he can't fight." They're like, "Yeah." The first thing I ever saw him in, that's what he was doing.
Yeah, that dude can fight. He has like a real surfer body. He has a real swimmer's body. Real. Thin. So I think he can definitely like slim down and be that sort of lithe look. I mean, he used to be a model as well. So I have no problem with this guy cleaning himself up and making him look a little bit more, less kind of wild and Aquaman looking or Khal Drogo looking. And I can definitely see him being a little bit, more cleaned up and given that more Atreides polish, let's just say. And I think he's going to do a great job in the role because he has a swagger. And you need a swagger to be Duncan Idaho. Duncan Idaho is.
Oh, he definitely has the swagger.
Yeah, Duncan Idaho has a swagger that you can't stop. It's one that, people can't live without. Literally, they have to keep on bringing him back to life because the world
honestly
needs
was
him.
surprised. I was honestly a little surprised at some of the backlash because I was just like, you should be really happy to have an actor with his name recognition, and I don't think he's a bad actor. I really don't.
So I feel like the commentary took me back to like the late 90s. It made me feel like people were just complaining about Jar Jar Binks. Let's be honest here. This movie's in pre-production. It hasn't even started filming yet. So let's go see the movie before we start, getting all ragey about it. And I was thinking about it, and I have a term for this sort of kind of reaction when we get like this initial casting and these initial pre-production things. It's fanboyism. It's the fans kind of destroying their own fan base and not wanting to enjoy some hype for a while. It's being overly critical to the point where a franchise's fans are most negatively vocal opposition to their own success. It's fanboyism.
I like it.
Yeah. Dune fans, guys, we cannot succumb to this sort of reaction. We have to be.
We are the last great fan base.
Yes, we really are. Let's not degrade ourselves and fall into, traps that we have seen before. I mean, what is the first rule of Dune? You must not fear. You must not fear. Fear is the mind killer. And that's it. You just can't. You can't worry about this sort of thing. If you have reservations, if you have qualms, if you're not 100% sure yet, that's okay. It's totally okay to worry to not be 100% sure, because guess what? We haven't seen anything yet. We don't know what's going on. It's all right to let things kind of be open-ended and have a question mark at the end of them right now, because nothing is set in stone yet. If the movie comes out and it's not a good movie, we'll talk about that, okay? We can talk about that. But it's not shaping up that way so far. And let's just enjoy it. Let's have fun with this. Let's just have some hype and just allow ourselves to really just be fans of Dune and just really think about the fact that this is a film we never thought was going to really happen, and not to this degree. We thought we were lucky when we had Sci-Fi Channel miniseries. And now we're going to get...
I remember thinking...
Yeah. An A-list AAA film is on its way. Come on. This is great stuff. This is great stuff. And we should be celebrating that every day. What are you going to say?
I know I am. I know I am.
Yeah.
There are times I just look at this and I'm still just like looking at this entire cast going, how... Like, Denis must just be like walking in and just going, "Hi, I'm Denis. Would you like to work for me?" Like, just
people like, "Yes, sir."
Blows my mind. Yes, sir, I would. It whether it be the art directors, the special effects people, or these actors. The actors, for example. Let's go on. We talked about how they're gonna portray this person. Obviously, with a lot of prosthetics, but they get Stellan Skarsgård.
Stellan Skarsgård, another Marvel actor, by the way, too, from the Thor series.
Yeah.
I mean...
Another Swedish actor.
Another Swedish actor, too. Very interesting. He's been veteran actor here. We're talking decades and decades of work. And he's going to be Baron Harkonnen. I think you need someone with this gravitas who can come in and really just own the role. And again, another person who disappears into their roles. He was in a number of Marvel films, Age of Ultron... He was in a couple of Dune, a couple of Thor films. He's done a bunch of Swedish work too. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I remember him in The Exorcist. Dominion prequel to The Exorcist. Good Will Hunting. Mamma Mia. The guy's always in a lot of stuff. You've seen him around, and I think he's gonna make a great Baron, because I think he has that sort of weight to his role, and he can portray it and not be completely over the top when he needs to be like the uber villain. and I think that's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he played a great villain in Girl with the Dragon Tattoo.
Yeah, he did. Very nuanced. And how are they gonna portray the Baron? Are they gonna go into the massive bloated fatness of him? I know there's I think they're whether that looks CG or it's a mixture of costume and CG. Who knows? But I know they're going to do it.
My understanding, Denis is not a big CGI person. Like, he uses as little as he can.
Really?
Like sets. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
I mean, look at Arrival, Arrival and Blade Runner are both heavy CG films.
I think there was a lot more set work in Blade Runner than what you would imagine.
Well, it's a mix, right? There's gorgeous sets and then there's gorgeous CG work on top of that. But there are certain shots and there's certain stuff that you can only achieve with CG that are done in Blade Runner. Things that I've never seen before in a movie. Like when the hologram robot is, literally overlaid over the person.
The shot in
stuff.
the rain. Joy in the rain.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
Now,
is that the same special effects? I can't remember here.
What's up?
Is that the same special effects?
We'll get to that. We have some more casting to go through. So, yeah, there are some other people who are also cast. We have our main Bene Gesserit, Reverend Gaius Mohayim, and that's Charlotte Rampling, who is also another veteran British actor. She is, on the older side. She is a I don't know if she's a dame or not, but she is certainly a well respected actress, and has been around, done a lot of stage work, done a lot of films as well. Things you may not super have heard of. She's done smaller roles. She was in Broadchurch, a series that is fantastic from 2015. You can find, she was on Dexter, one of the later seasons of Dexter. What's up?
I did not watch Broadchurch. I always meant to. It's on my list.
Yeah, me too. It's very dark, very, very dark. She's been in things. She's,
if I'm not mistaken, wasn't she originally going to be in Jodorowsky's?
Was she really? Really?
I should probably check that.
Yeah, you fact check us. Fact check me on that one. But that would be wild, because she would have been of the age to have played a younger role at that point. She was working back in the 60s, and the 70s. So totally could have been viable to be in Jodorowsky's adaptation. That would have been amazing. That would have been really, really crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, she was in Zardoz. If you've ever seen that film, that is a wacky sci-fi film right there. Did you ever hear about it?
No.
Oh, Zardoz. Google it. Sean Connery's amazing sci-fi turn from the 70s. Weird movie. If you can get through the first half hour, let me know. Tunecast at retrozap.com. It's a strange one. It's a strange film. In any event, Charlotte Rampling, I think, definitely has the pedigree and the talent to play this pivotal role for the Bene Gesserit and really portray what a Reverend Mother would be from the Order. A couple of the people here cast. Let's see here. We have our Peter DeVries, which just came out very recently. It just got added. David Dastmalchian, who is a name you may not recognize, but you definitely recognize his face. He was in The Dark Knight. He was in Ant-Man. He was also in Blade Runner as well. He played one of the Joker's thugs in Dark Knight. He played Kurt in Ant-Man, and he played Coco in Blade Runner 2049. He has these crazy eyes, and he has kind of a very slight build, and I think he's going to really make a really good Peter DeVries, and something a little bit different than what we've seen before.
Yeah. I think he looks like a Twisted Mentat to me.
He does.
When I see him, I'm like, please don't give him the eyebrows.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get many of that weird eyebrow stuff. That seems a little bit 80s to me. He was in Bird Box recently as the Whistling Marauder, and
really,
yeah, he was in the Twin Peaks series from 2017. He's done a lot of stuff recently in the past couple of years. He's really only worked in the last decade, but definitely so a younger character too. He's well, actually no, look at this. He's 77, so he's 42, but he looks young. I think he's going to play a really good Mentat, for sure. So it would be pretty cool to see that. It's weird too. I didn't realize up until this week that, well, I knew it in the past, but I had not really thought about it, that Lynch created the Mentat Creed. It's by Will Alone. I Set My Mind in Motion is by the juice of Safu, that my thoughts acquire speed, the lips acquire stains, the stains become a warning. It is by Will Alone. I Set My Mind in Motion. Wow, that came right from my memory right there. Wow, pulled that one right out. Took me. Not gonna lie to you,
impressed.
Took me a second. Thank you. Wow. Hey, get that Mentat projection going on. Okay, so the last one here, the last casting.
Real quick, I want to update.
Okay, what's up?
Apparently, she was being eyed. Charlotte Rampling was being eyed to play Lady Jessica in the Jodorowsky.
Kidding. That would work out perfectly. That's super cool.
Yep.
Wow.
I was like, I knew there was a connection. I was just trying to remember exactly.
And I wonder if that's something like Herbert kind of always thought she would be good in Dune, so they looked to her to cast. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
I wonder,
I mean, it makes sense, but sometimes you're like, do they put that much thought into it, or are they just like, she's a great actress?
I feel like this production absolutely does. I feel like, especially with Jodorowsky's Dune, documentary already out there, that this sort of thing has been consumed. That Brian is paying attention to that Denis is paying attention to that, and I think that they're definitely making those connections. 100%. Seeing how this is all playing out, absolutely. Okay, last casting here, and this is still a rumor. It is not confirmed that we may have our Chaney, and
yes,
I personally am very mixed on this. Zendaya, if you've heard of that name, Zendaya is rumored to be the front runner for the Chaney role. So,
yep.
Yeah, she was born in 1996, so not yet 30. Right? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And she's been working very...
Manimal.
What's that?
Manimal.
Yeah, exactly.
I graduated from high school.
Yeah, I was my later half of high school there. And, she's been working very prodigiously this past decade. She's done a lot of stuff. I got to give her credit that she has been working really, really hard and really working on her acting career quite a bit. She was in Spider-Man. Homecoming, I think, is probably one of the biggest roles she's had. She was in The Greatest Showman. Again, that movie's come up again. And she's going to be in Spider-Man Far From Home later this year as well. So she's done quite a bit very quickly. I have to say, what I've seen her in, and I am not impressed with her acting ability so far. I have to say that. I am not blown away by this. I think this is maybe the weakest link in the entire cast. That being said...
So you're not a fan of the KC Undercover?
I don't even know what that is, but I'm not a fan of it.
That's the Disney show she started on, because that is unfortunately my first exposure to her. Was my niece visiting.
Okay.
That's the story I'm going with. My niece was visiting, and this show was on, and it's a ridiculous Disney show.
Yeah.
And she played, I don't even know if she plays like some kind of agent, but she's always dressing up as somebody else.
Okay.
It's an absurd Disney show.
Okay. I'm sure.
But then I heard that she was cast as Mary Jane, and I thought she transformed her appearance well in that movie.
Really? I just don't think she didn't exude any personality in that movie. I just didn't really see a lot of personality. I didn't see I don't know. I just didn't feel it.
Have you seen The Greatest Showman?
I did not.
I didn't either, but I have coworkers who did, and they said that she was good in it.
Okay.
They weren't as skeptical about this casting as maybe you or I.
There are people who loved her portrayal in Spider-Man: Homecoming, who thought that she kind of stole the scene just with like an intensity, but I didn't see that. I just saw, I don't know. I just saw a person who didn't really bring anything to the screen. It was kind of like working off a script and just kind of going through the motions of the script. But maybe I'm wrong. Also, I'm just wondering why she doesn't.
Maybe we should watch The Greatest Showman.
I just
see what we think.
Maybe, but maybe not. I'm not going to watch that movie. Also, just personally, it just annoys me. She has one name. I mean, do we need to do that right now?
Yeah.
Do we need to do that in 2019? Is that a thing still? I don't know. So
she's bringing it back.
Is she now? I'm not too hot on this casting, but again, I'll say this: it's a rumor. First of all, second of all, if she is cast, I'm not about to freak out about it because I'll tell you this:
no,
Denis Villeneuve has a history of elevating actors that you may not have thought were A-list actors previously. When I look at Amy Adams in Arrival, that is a career-making performance. That is an unbelievable tour de force of acting that she put forward. And I did not think that Amy Adams was possible of producing that beforehand. Great actor. She did a lot of great things that I enjoy, but not at that level. Not at that artistic level that it took to make something like Arrival. When I look at Bautista...
You can send your hate mail to me. Jeremy Renner, I've never been a big fan of his acting.
Yeah, Jeremy Renner.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
but
man,
he was good in Arrival.
He was.
And I'm just not a huge, but I thought he was good in that.
Yeah.
And
Dave Bautista.
Denominator.
Look at Dave Bautista before Denis Villeneuve and after Denis Villeneuve. That's all I gotta say. I mean, from Drax.
Yeah.
To what he did in Blade Runner, I mean, night and day. Denis Villeneuve has a way of bringing things out of actors and elevating their performances like no other director can do. It's what makes him a great director. It's one of the things that makes him great. So,
yeah, you take a guy like Dave Bautista, as big as he is, playing Drax, and you turn him into this quiet, loner replicant that was a medic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think medic at all when you see somebody like Dave Bautista?
Not at all. But I did when I saw that. I did. I saw a guy who was strong, but also at the same time, very reluctant to use that power. Hesitant.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that movie, who would have thought Ryan Gosling in that role?
Oh, I know. Again.
We haven't even talked. Yeah, it's like, who? I remember when they first announced it, I was like, what?
Ryan Gosling? Yeah. I mean, what are we even talking about?
I don't want to watch this. And then I saw a couple trailers, and it was right around the time that they had announced he was doing Dune, and I was like, I am going to go see this. And just blown out of the water.
Now, Gosling did some good stuff with, Drive. Drive was a good indie movie he did. He's done some good indie movies, but I wasn't like, I don't know. I just didn't think he would be like taking the main replicant Blade Runner role, like from Harrison Ford. I didn't think he was going to be able to do that, and the guy just blew it out of the water. And I think that's as much a credit to his performance as it is to Denis Villeneuve being able to pull this stuff out of people and to make them just elevate their performance, like I said. So I look at Zendaya's performance in Spider-Man: Homecoming and I say not great. But then I say, you know what? This may be it. This may be the turning point. And I may be like, wow. I couldn't have seen anyone else play Cheney before or after. This is, she is Cheney. Maybe that's going to happen. And you know something? I want this film to succeed, and that's what I want to hope for. I want her to be Meryl Streep up there. I want her, you know what I mean? I want this to be the greatest thing that she's ever done and blows everybody out of the water. So.
And could easily happen.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm expecting that, to be perfectly honest. I don't think Villeneuve would do this unless he thought that could happen.
And we're not going to get a whole lot of her in this first movie, probably.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Some dream sequences, probably.
Yeah, and that's confirmed too. This 11/20/2020 release date is only for part one. I as soon as the release date was announced, I'm like, this is just for part one, right? We're not doing one film again, right? And Brian Herbert himself confirmed it's part one, so that's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, really cool. I think that pretty much the entire
trying to cram this into one movie is just too much.
No, yeah, it really is, and I think the fan community is pretty solid on the fact that we're probably gonna wrap this movie up on like somewhere around the crash in the desert. Yeah, I think it's either the crash in the desert or they're going to do like right around when. If you ask me, it's either the crash in the desert or when Jessica and Paul take the spice. And I think that's about it. I think that's one of those times is gonna be the dividing line. I don't know. What do you think?
I'm leaning towards The Awakening. I really am.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good place. Like you could almost see the last shot being Paul revealing that they are Harkonnens.
Yeah. Like Paul wakes up, Jessica wakes up, Alia wakes up. End of film. Boom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, damn. Like she was pregnant and she's awake inside the womb.
And that was
Boom.
A bad idea.
Who knew?
Oh, Jessica, man, she really, yeah. Well, she did. She did it anyway.
Well, she was gonna, it was for her. They were gonna die if not. So had to be done.
Yeah,
had to be done.
That Jessica screwing up the galaxy,
meddling with the universe. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Change the course of universal history for love.
Yep.
No wonder the Bene Gesserit has a restriction on it afterwards.
Oh yeah,
the greatest.
We're not doing this again.
Yeah, it keeps on happening. Funny that works. I just want to say something too. Brian Herbert is one of the executive producers on the film, but he's not the only Herbert there, and he's the Herbert estate is very much involved. You have Brian Herbert, you have Kim Herbert, Byron Merritt, Mary Parent, Thomas Tull, Joseph Caracolo Jr., and Cale Boyder, all is production. So there's quite a lot of people working in a producer role on this film. Greg Fraser is DP, director of photography, so he's the person responsible for capturing all the shots, making sure the lighting is right, making sure that things look good. The actual beauty of the film, the cinematography. So let's see what he's doing. Well, he's doing the Mandalorian Star Wars series. He did the movie Vice. He did Rogue One. If you liked how Rogue One looked, expect more of that. Kind of very gritty, but also at the same time beautiful. Lion, Foxcatcher, Zero Dark 30, another gritty movie. I think the guy's going to be able to do Desert all right. Let Me In, great movie from 2012. This guy has quite a few credits to his name. So I'm really happy Greg Fraser is going to be behind the camera on this one. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely quite a pedigree, and I think he's really going to put a name for himself out there. In Blade Runner, people were hoping Roger Deakins was going to be doing this, but I don't know why he's not working on this, but he's not. Which is always a loss. Deakins is amazing, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? For people who feel like at the editing rooms where the movie is made, we have Joe Walker as an editor, and this is a guy that Villeneuve is very close with, so that they know how to make gold together. He's done Sicario, he's a Blade Runner, he's done Arrival, and he's also done movies like Widows, 12 Years a Slave, quite a few things outside of Villeneuve as well. So this guy has has all the chops you need, and definitely Villeneuve knows how to work with him. So we have some good editing as well behind the film, post production. They're gonna be able to work together really well. Costume design, Bob Morgan. And when you think about costumes, Dune is so heavily reliant on good costumes. We're talking about Abba robes. We're talking about still suits. We're talking about just like, Atreides gear, Harkonnen gear, what the Emperor is going to look like. All those sort of things. You need good costuming in Dune. And Bob Morgan's definitely a guy who knows how to do that. He worked on Inception, Days of Future Past, Man of Steel, G.I. Joe, The Rise of Cobra, which you think is kind of a goofy role, but think about how the G.I. Joes look. You definitely need some good stuff. Yeah. Chronicles of Riddick, which is a beautiful visual feast. What you think of the plot, which is kind of a weird plot. He's done all these sort of films that really need a lot of visual weight to them. Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. I mean, the costuming in that movie is out of control good. Behind the Candelabra, which was a Liberace movie, so you definitely know he's doing costumes there. Indiana Jones, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I mean, great stuff. You think about all of the costumes in this movie. This is a person who knows how to get that done. I think we have some good stuff in store for us with that.
And I'm excited to see how they make I'm excited with the honored. I almost said honored Matres. Jeez, what I got on my mind. The Bene Gesserit, and I really want to see how a still suit. They're imagining of a still suit.
Yeah, and this is the guy who's going to be able to do it. This is the guy who's really going to be leading the charge with that. We were talking about sets earlier too, and how Villeneuve likes to use beautiful sets. You want to talk about beautiful sets? You go to a guy like Richard Roberts, who is a set decorator for Guardians of the Galaxy, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I mean, say what you will with The Last Jedi. I loved it, but a lot of people didn't. You look at Snoke's throne room, and that is just gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous place. Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the Dune movie, all these beautiful, beautiful sets. Ooh, he's going to be doing the Dark Crystal series is coming up. Very exciting.
Yeah, Netflix is just, they know how to hit that nostalgia, don't they?
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? If a Dune series is going to be coming out, I hope it comes to Netflix. That would be really cool. Other stuff this guy's done.
To see,
what are you going to say?
Well, I'd love to see some of Brian and Kevin's work get done into some television series.
I mean, even if they're not going to do every book as a film, transfer all that stuff over to a series. Super cool. But I hope they do at least 7 films. I really do. Even if they condense Hunters and Sandworms into one film, I would really like to see that. Or even if they condense,
really,
what's that?
I think we just want to see the God Emperor on screen.
Yeah, we need that. We need that big time. Big time. And it makes you wonder if God Emperor is a series or not. Maybe that's the series there. He just sits down and talks to you for 40 minutes just looking at the screen.
There's been franchises that have talked about doing a back and forth between movies and television. Like, they tried to do it with the Dark Tower. It just didn't work out, but who knows? Maybe Dune's the one that'll figure that out.
Yeah, that could be interesting, because I could see Dune and Dune Messiah being 2 films. I could see Children being a series. I could see God Emperor being a series. I could see Heretics being a film. I could see Chapterhouse being a film. I could see Hunters and Sandworm being a season as well. I mean, I think these are all one season type of things, but I definitely could see them being seasons of a series. So, hey, who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? It's exciting, though. So, yeah, a lot of good stuff. When we think about the art, concept art, too, for this film, there's a lot of amazing concept art being done or has already been done. And Kamen Anav is the person, in charge of the concept art. And he worked on Blade Runner 2049, The Martian, Assassin's Creed, Inferno. He did some stuff for Episode 9 for Star Wars, Spider-Man Far From Home, Artemis Fowl. I mean, this Aladdin, this guy is in high demand. He's a working concept designer, and he's doing a lot of good stuff. So super exciting. I mean, it just goes to show you the entire production is getting the best of the best all over the place. There's a lot of special effects right now that a lot of people already working on VFX for this film, quite a bit, which is really, really exciting to know that stuff is already being thought about. So I'm pretty excited about that.
He's also, it looks like he's filming with the same studios he used for a lot of Blade Runner 2049 also.
Yeah, Double Negative and Framestore, which is cool. Going back to the well for what worked, you know what I mean? Which is cool.
Yeah.
Filming
classic,
locations
not broken.
Yeah, filming locations that have been revealed so far are in a film studio in Budapest, Hungary, and then on location in Wadi Rum, Jordan. So this studio in Hungary is getting a lot of work lately. It's the new Terminator film is being shot there. Blade Runner 2049 was done there. The 2014 Hercules film, starring The Rock, was there, and then a bunch of other Hungarian stuff as well. So it's pretty cool that some great films have been made at the studio, which is cool. And Villeneuve is clearly comfortable there because he did Blade Runner there. So good to know that too.
Yeah.
And then, when you're looking at Jordan, this seems like to be a place to go to do some desert shots. The new Aladdin film was shot there. Rogue One was shot there. The Martian was shot there. Lawrence of Arabia was shot there in 1962. Prometheus.
And I think
what are you going to say?
Part of episode 7 was there also, wasn't it?
I don't see that on here.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think they went to. They might have went to Qatar, I think, maybe. But any place you're trying to get an otherworldly, dry kind of alien planet, you go into Jordan. Prometheus, Mission to Mars, Red Planet. All of these places that, a lot of Mars films are going to Jordan to cast and kind of just changing the color gradient to red, I guess. So it's cool. It's cool to see that, this is a tried and true place for, an alien planet and a desert planet. So I'm digging that quite a bit. And that's all I got for a movie production right now. I think that's pretty much it. Is there anything else that we haven't touched on? What's up?
We haven't touched on. Do you want to briefly mention some of the roles that haven't been cast yet?
Oh, look at this! We totally skipped over that. Yeah, there's quite a few. Dr. Yue has not been announced yet. Thufir Hawat as well. And those are two people I can't even imagine.
Thufir, I was kind of surprised, and also Princess Irulan.
Yeah, I want to know who Irulan is. We don't have any other Fremen roles like Shut Up Mapes as well. Don't know anything like that. Jameis has not been cast yet. The Sayadina has not been cast yet. Like we said, Fade has not been announced yet. Shaddam the Fourth hasn't been announced yet. The Fen Rings have not been announced yet. And there was one other that someone had touched on today that hadn't been announced. Oh yeah, Tuek, the original Tuek, has not been announced. So all major roles in the film as well. Also Kynes, Liat Kynes as well. Where's he?
Don't know yet.
Yeah. Where's Kynes?
Interesting. Kynes.
Yeah. What kinds of film is this going to be? If we don't know, you need Liat. So I'm sure all of these will be announced eventually. I have to say, with the exception of Fade Rautha, most of these roles are a little bit secondary to tertiary. So I see why they're revealing the bigger ones first. And I mean, Yue has a limited role, pivotal but limited. Thufir as well. You know, Shadow the Fourth, while pivotal to the plot, does not have a big speaking role. The same with the Fenrings. I mean, Fade will be in a few scenes, but he also is not like, he's kind of in the background for most of it. I mean, he's just a looming terror in the background. You know, Jameis has one scene. Irulan really doesn't. You know, Irulan is between the chapters. You know, unless we come back to her every 5 minutes, she's not going to have a big role either. So I see why they're waiting for this type of stuff. But if you're revealing who Piter is, I think this is probably next. These roles are next. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and I wonder if they'll do it one at a time or just maybe a big dump.
Yeah, there might be a big dump. You can't really tell at this point. They may be like, yeah, and here's the rest, because production is going to be starting soon on this film, and there's not a lot that's going to be hidden from that, and then we have to worry about spoilers. So that's a whole other question that we'll be talking about on at another date. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us for our first movie update on the upcoming Dune film. You know where to find the Dune cast. We're everywhere on social media. You can find Rod at Bald-Headed Rod on Twitter, myself at Joey Wong Kenobi, and you can find Dunecast at Dune_cast. We're also on Facebook and Instagram. Dunecast is a proud member of the RetroZap Podcast Network. You can find us everywhere podcasts can be found. We want you to subscribe, of course. Rod, any final words?
I think we need to remember we're getting a new Dune movie with an A cast. Let's not nitpick this thing and be upset because you didn't get the one actor you wanted.
Yeah, let's be positive.
Great cast with a great director.
Yeah, excellent. Good point, man. All right, guys, we will see you next week. For Rod Johnson, I'm Joe Tavano, and long live the fighters. We'll see you soon.